If you apply the city's zoning ordinance to the city's own maps, you will find that there are very few, if any, locations that these collectives can actually move to and comply with the ordinance. So it's almost as if it's a de facto ban.
Although the new ordinance goes into effect today, and 439 marijuana shops are on the list to be shut down. A hearing has been scheduled in July to allow attorneys to debate the issue further. But for the meantime, those shops which have been notified have to close their doors. In addition to the daily $1,000 fine and 6 months in jail, there's also a civil penalty of $2,500 a day. The fines are very expensive. Now, with all of these collectives shutting down, there will only be about 130 shops that will remain open. But of course, with the July hearing that is scheduled, this is something that is not going to end. It's something that will be continued to be debated. And here at this one location, again, there's 439 shops that are closing. This is one of them, Steve. So it's something we're going to hear about for some time to come.
I support the Drug Policy Alliance because it fosters debate on drug policy.
Because the war on drugs represents an extraordinary violation of human rights.
Because whether you use drugs or not, you deserve to be treated with respect, kindness, and dignity.
I support the Drug Policy Alliance because I'm a scientist.
Because the United States has the highest incarceration rate in the world.
I support the Drug Policy Alliance because I want my children to receive honest drug education.
Because it's time to step out of our comfort zone and begin to tell the truth about drugs and our failed drug policies.
Because the war on drugs is a war on people of color.
The Drug Policy Alliance promotes harm reduction.
Because the drug problem is a health problem, not a criminal problem.
I support the Drug Policy Alliance because I believe in the right to sovereignty over one's own mind and body.
Because so many people are incarcerated.
I know. I spent 12 years in prison because of a first-time nonviolent drug offense.
Because I believe in personal freedom and personal choice.
Because the drug war
is not the war on drugs,
it's a war on people. I'm Tony Papa.
I'm George Soros.
I'm Sting, and I am the Drug Policy Alliance.
I'm Larice Harvey.
I am Dr. Mathilde Krim.
I'm Elizabeth Sarnoff.
I'm Montel Williams, and I am the Drug Policy Alliance.
I am the Drug Policy Alliance.
I am the Drug Policy Alliance.
And I am the Drug Policy Alliance.
SAFER is a nonprofit organization that's dedicated exclusively to educating the public about the fact that marijuana is safer than alcohol, not just for people who use it, but for society in general. SAFER started in 2005 organizing college students to basically pass referenda on college campuses saying that marijuana is safer than alcohol, therefore the penalties for marijuana should be no greater than those for alcohol. Otherwise, we're driving college students to drink. And so these measures were successful at the 2 largest universities in Colorado, and since then we've helped students at more than a dozen universities across the country pass ballot measures on their campuses that call for more rational marijuana and alcohol penalties that recognize the facts on these 2 drugs. Just recently, we actually worked with students on more than 85 campuses around the country to raise attention to this debate and to start asking why we're driving students to drink when they might otherwise prefer to use a far safer substance. We've also run ballot initiatives here in Colorado. In particular, we ran the citywide initiative in Denver in 2005 that made it the first municipality in the country to remove all penalties for marijuana possession at the local level. We also ran a second citywide initiative in Denver in 2007, which was successful, that established that marijuana possession by adults is the absolute lowest law enforcement priority for our local police. We've tried running a statewide initiative to make marijuana legal for all of Colorado, but unfortunately we only received 41% of the vote. But at this point, we now, in just 5 years, or 4 years I should say, in just 4 years we've seen the number of Coloradans who support marijuana reform jump from 41% to 49%, according to the latest polls. And we attribute much of this to the change in attitude that's come about because people keep hearing this message that marijuana is safer than alcohol. We have also seen here in Denver, where we are based, a huge growth in support from 53% when we ran our first initiative in 2005 to now about 68% according to the polls. So what we're seeing is a significant increase in support for marijuana reform in the city of Denver and the state of Colorado that's far greater than the increase that's occurring nationwide. And we attribute this to the fact that more and more Coloradans are coming to understand and appreciate the fact that marijuana is far safer than alcohol, and it makes absolutely no sense to punish adults who are making the rational, safer choice to use a less harmful substance. SAFER started the women's marijuana movement because there just aren't enough women speaking out publicly about this issue. It was women who helped repeal prohibition of alcohol back in the 1930s, and it's really going to take a lot of strong female voices against marijuana prohibition to repeal it here in the 21st century.
I feel really strongly about the women's movement because, again, I have seen way too much sexual assault and date rape happen on my campus and on my friends' campuses all around the country, and it's almost all the time due in part to alcohol.
More women are realizing that with marijuana being illegal, teenagers have even more access to marijuana than, say, alcohol, because drug dealers don't ID.
We're hoping to inspire women to be more comfortable and confident when they talk about marijuana, not just publicly with friends and so on, but with other women, with their daughters, with their mothers, their sisters, and so on. We need women talking with each other, letting them know that it's okay to say you think marijuana should be legal, because there's this certain stigma that if you're a mother or if you are a professional woman, you can't say that you support marijuana because it makes you a bad parent or it makes you someone who can't find a job. But as more and more women do talk about this with each other and with others, we're going to find less and less resistance, and we're going to find more and more support for marijuana amongst not only women but the public in general.
A lot more women smoke marijuana than people think, because it's typically been seen as, like, you know, the stoner guys on college that are smoking marijuana, but a lot of my girlfriends do, and I think that if they were just given the little push, that they would come out and say, yeah, I smoke weed and I want to be allowed to.
It's really critical that we talk about marijuana openly, because it is a substance that so many people use and so many people enjoy and should be allowed to enjoy. Obviously, some people face the loss of employment or other complications as a result of talking about their own marijuana use, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with talking about your support for changing a law, especially when it's a law that many, many, many people around the country think should be changed, including a lot of elected officials, judges, former elected officials and judges, professionals, and other prominent individuals. So it's time that we come out of the closet in terms of our support for making marijuana legal, and once it is legal, we can then encourage people to simply come out of the closet, or at least allow them to come out of the closet about their own marijuana use, should they choose to use it. So one of SAFER's main goals is to spark conversation and debate about marijuana and about how it's safer than alcohol, because it's really going to be these conversations that result in marijuana laws changing. Handing someone a flyer or putting an ad on television isn't going to change the way people view marijuana legalization. They're still going to have that stigma. They're still going to think that it's just something we can't do. But when they have conversations with their family, their colleagues, their employers, and their friends, that's when they start to realize it's okay to support this, it's okay to talk about this, and we start to see more people change their mind.
Any women out there who are in support of marijuana legalization, or have felt or are starting to feel that marijuana prohibition is a failed endeavor in our society, get involved. Send me an email at women, WOMEN, at saferchoice.org, and take a stand for your beliefs in what is sensible in our society in terms of drug policy.
I'm a normal guy. I like the outdoors. I work a 9 to 5, and I use marijuana recreationally and responsibly in the privacy of my own home. Recently, I became one of the 20 million Americans who have been arrested for a marijuana-related offense. Now I face jail time and my future is in jeopardy. But couldn't police resources have been spent more wisely? After all, 90%